Hey there, hi there, ho there, and welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast where we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate for the last time Solo, a Star Wars party, now available on digital and Blu-ray, 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
And I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
And this is it. We're talking about minute 135 of Solo. It starts off with a tribute to line producer Fabio Massimo Dell'Orco. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. I apologize. Fabio Massimo.
Just move on.
Okay. And anyway, it ends a minute later with appropriately the endless black void that awaits us all.
Yeah, as all these movies do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as I said, we had no Pete's in this minute. We finished them out last minute.
Pete free.
So all I had I wanted to segue one into the other here. But did you have anything standing out? Anything you wanted to jump in with? Why don't you go first?
Well, the only thing I noticed that it was approved by the American Humane, which is an organization that does move, saying no animals were harmed in the making of this film.
Mm-hmm.
And I was off the top of my head, I was trying to think of are there any animals in this film? And I guess there's those Corellian hounds.
Yeah, the Corellian hounds,
which we learned are kind of like just dogs wearing puppet costumes and stuff. Apparently American Humane does 70% of known animal action in film and TV, in over 2,000 productions annually. And I looked up, they have a list of all the movies they've done, and it was curious because they list The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker and Solo. The Last Jedi and Rogue One, not American Humane approved, which I thought was kind of odd.
Now, do movies that don't have animals in them, that don't use any animals, do they still run that?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Because maybe there weren't any real animals. Well, Last Jedi had puffins out the wazoo, but they were digitally redone. They weren't kind of caged and they weren't performing animals. I wonder.
They were just kind of in the background and stuff. Yeah. And I'm assuming the ones that were up close were just puppets and digital recreations. Like, I don't think they got a real puffin to stand there and play with a lightsaber.
No.
That's a good question. Well, depressingly, as I looked into it and people were saying the American Humane is not quite as
wasn't there a thing
foolproof as you might think. Like I think
they were accused of taking bribes a while back.
Yeah, it basically seems like it's not quite as much of a, protection as you might hope for, but better than nothing, I guess.
Well, yeah, I think it's like we're not going to run this horse off the cliff.
So, but yeah, that was pretty much the only note I had regarding the credits for this particular minute. Did you have other things you wanted to?
Well, I had do you have any other? Did you have any bits or anything you wanted to go into? Because mine kind of segues from, there's a credit that's with special thanks to the patient and generous families of the cast and crew.
Okay.
Which I would imagine with that extra hits home, a little bit extra for everybody involved with the production that went kind of off the rails a little bit.
Reshoots, etc.
And so I'm sure that took a lot out of them. But then also I wanted to segue that into thanking everybody from this season.
Yes, our guest commentators, you mean?
Yes. Starting with, he was just texting me in the green room before the show started, Mr. Tony Thaxton. Forgot he was our first guest this season.
Like a long time ago.
Long time. Followed by another longtime favorite, Josh Flanagan, Chrysanthi Tan, Crystal Beth, Ken Plume, Lacey Gillerin, new to the show, Heather Antos, our friends from the George Lucas Talk Show. This season we had Patrick Kotner and Connor Ratliff, Our friends from Hello from the Magic Tavern. This year we had Matt Young and Arnie Niekamp. Riley Silverman. Our friends from Star Wars Explained, Molly and Alex Damon. Chris Radke, speaking of last name people. Speaking of people with last names. Joseph Scrimshaw. Jordan D. White. Tony Consiglio. Susan Tekla-Kruglinska. Joe Dater. The comedy stylings of Asterios Kokkinos and Ralph Atanasia.
Ralph Stirios reunited.
Yeah, the Ralph Stirios. They said we couldn't do it, but we tricked them. Tim Barnes, Jeff May, John Mathot. Alphabetical was John Skripik and Adam Santiago. Our all-stars from this past season, just a couple of weeks ago, John Kovalik, of course. Brandon Waynerdy, Todd Alcott, Greg Iwinski, and Catherine Coldiron. Greg Wyszynski. We had Greg Iwinski and Greg Wyszynski this season. We need one more, I think. We
have
need
to team those guys up.
Yeah, we gotta. And then just in the past couple of weeks, Stuart Wellington, and of course Andy Robinson and Ella Moran. And so wanted to thank everybody for their appearances, for sticking with the show. Want to thank, I already thanked Ella for being on the show, but let's also thank Ella and your lovely wife, Kristen, for helping support the show, keeping everything going for so long, and bearing with us as we wrap up our 10th movie in our 9th year.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Of doing this.
We should also probably extend a thank you to our beloved Patreons who
absolutely
stuck with us during all these economic hard times. Your support means so much to us, and we're really glad you guys and gals and others are sticking with us. So thanks very much for all that support.
Yeah. And we could not have done all this without you. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our Patreon supporters. So thank you, one and all.
So, in retrospect, how do you feel about Solo, a Star Wars story?
It's good. I don't know. I go with the flow with people. Like if I'm, let's say I'm talking about what I'm doing. I'm like, hey, we do a Star Wars podcast. Or we do. Oh, what movie are you on? Oh, Solo. And people are like, oh, that's, that was kind of a stinker. I'm like, yeah. But if people are just, love it, then I'm like, yeah, it's good. Like I think it holds up as just a fun adventure in Star Wars land for 2 hours, for 135 minutes rather.
I think the last 7 minutes or so were a little slow.
That's true. Yeah. The last 7.5 minutes was a little bit, if I wanted to read, I'd go to school.
Is that where you go to read?
I think so. I don't know. But yeah, overall, it's good. It definitely will benefit from time. Will benefit this movie because it won't have the weight of expectations on it, and it'll just be around as a goofy, fun adventure that it is. What do you think? How did you feel coming in? How do you feel going out?
Going in, I think I feel like I placed it towards the bottom of my rankings. I feel like I enjoyed it a bit more. I mean, I feel like whenever we do our little comedy show here, it always makes me appreciate the movie more because now it's not just the movie, but now I associate it with all the funny things and stuff that we have talked about. So it always increases my enjoyment of the films. I think it's like a competent adventure film. Like not particularly, it doesn't really hit too big highs or sink to too lows. It's like, it's very, it's pretty straight down the middle. So, it's, there are worse ways to kill 2 hours, but, that's kind of the way I feel about it.
You're going to blurb you on the box there. That's going to be your pull quote.
Yeah, it was, it's fun. I don't think the things that the things that people complain about, like Alden Ehrenreich not being a Harrison Ford, I feel like that's not the things I would beef about the movie.
Those aren't the problems.
I feel like the problems are more the kind of connect the dots feeling where it's like, oh, they felt like they had to incorporate they had to explain how everything happened to Han Solo that got him to where he was. And, I, of course, was holding out for Cannonball Run, or just a kind of more fun romp than an origin film with an emotional core to it. But, for what it was, I thought it was a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Yeah. Well, I guess unless there's anything else you wanted to say about the film, I guess we have people can look forward to The Rise of Skywalker coming up next. Pete and Alex will return in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
In 2023.
It seems like the future. I mean, it is the future. Yes. Yeah. But seems like the far future.
Yeah. Well, I guess then, Pete, I want to thank you for being the co-host of the show.
Well, thank you for continuing to put up with this and do it and have fun with it, and all your work on your excellent designs and all the behind-the-scenes stuff that you do. So, thanks for making it fun.
And I guess this is our last chance for plugs. Of course, I would have to plug our Patreon, because if you want to keep listening to us talk about Star Wars and other pop cultural junk, go to StarWarsMinute.com/Patreon. There we are continuing with our pop culture chain for the moment before our coverage of Andor will begin, whenever that show is scheduled to be on. So you can go to StarWarsMinute.com/Patreon for that. And I guess other than that, we'll see you next season on the next Star Wars Minute. Bye, everybody.